Hey guys, it's Daniel James here, and today I am at the Game Developers Conference in San Francisco. Let's take a quick look at San Francisco.
Oh, the audio on your BMW.
And I'm at a hotel bar at the Marriott on the second day of GDC, which is the Tuesday. So GDC is essentially the Game Developers Conference, and it basically consists of all the game developers from across the world coming together, and they host panels, and there's an expo floor and all these kinds of things. But the biggest draw of the whole event is having the opportunity to hang out with other people in your industry. So if you've ever seen my videos before, I talk about my loathe for the word networking and how you should be meeting people with similar interests in order to have meaningful conversations about making friends. You should be going out and making friends with people who have similar interests to you. So basically, GDC is the opportunity to do that. It's basically, I'm saying basically a lot, but it's essentially an opportunity to go to parties and go to, like I'm doing right now, like just hanging out with other people in your industry and having conversations about things that are relevant to the industry. The panels and the such are great. I'm not actually going to go see any of those, like the whole thing for me. Yes, I'm recording, and so like I'm here.
We've got ambient conversations in the background.
We have.
It's Daniel James.
So there's ambient conversations going on. You thought I was on the phone. Anyway, you see, this is the thing.
That is my thing.
Oh my God. So this is Andrew. Andrew, do you want to say hello?
Hi, I'm Daniel James.
Okay.
San Francisco.
There's San Francisco. Wait, I need to turn the game down slightly. The Daniel James part has. So this is Andrew, Jordan, and then we have Gareth, and we have Jack Wall. And so, like that's basically the thing. You go to these events, you go to the parties, and you hang out, and you just talk to people about the things you love. And in this case, that is music. That is the music industry. So what I'll try and do over the course of this video, well, not this, but yeah. So I'll try and compile a few interviews, a few talks into this video, and we will try and talk to composers and audio directors and all these kinds of things. And these are the types of people you'll meet here. And we'll try and cover some questions that I've posed on Twitter and Facebook. I asked what people would like to hear, and so what I'll do is I'll try and fit these things into the conversation. Sorry for all the ambient conversation. Like I say, we're in a bar, so keep watching the video, and we'll see who we can get to actually talk. I'm with Jack Wall.
Are we doing this?
We're doing it live.
Sure
Daniel James here.
And Gareth.
Daniel James.
Daniel James.
So I'm Daniel James, if you hadn't guessed.
Daniel James.
Jack wanted, he was begging
Jack
to
Wall. Jack Wall. Gareth Coker.
I promised this would be a serious video. So tell us, Jack. I don't know what to say now. Inspiration. Where does it come from?
Game composer.
A game composer who's worked on such things as Mass Effect and Call of Duty Black Ops 3. How was it working on those things, Jack? Serious conversation.
It was really nice.
It was
Very nice. We enjoyed it very much.
I'm not sure what I do. Gareth, how about Ori and the Blind Forest? How was it?
It was amazing.
And I guess that's what you're all looking for. Do you have anything serious? I don't. I had a conversation. I don't know. What do people say?
What is the purpose of music?
What? That was a good
Why?
one. Why music, Jack?
Why music? That's a good question, right?
That's an existential question.
Okay, music.
Daniel James.
Music is you're only supposed to write music so that you can be in a video and say Daniel James. That's why.
I thought we were going
James.
somewhere. This is what I deal with. And I was always going to start with the question that I have, which is like, what is GDC to you? I can preface it with why I come to GDC. This is my first one actually, and I'm coming just to make friends. Like
That's your first one, isn't it?
This is my
so
first one.
every time I've seen you, it's always been like in London or something.
It's always been in England at like Game Music Connect
Yeah.
which is interesting, and that's actually one of the fun things. So like me and Jason met briefly at Game Music Connect like 3 years ago, I think it was.
Yeah.
And like GDC is like the perfect opportunity for us to catch up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it's 3 years later, but it's the perfect, like we're in a room which is like just basically tables at the minute. It's just tables and people, talking to each other and meeting each other.
Well, this is what GDC is about. It's about hanging out face to face with people that maybe you've communicated over email or Skype or whatever, or maybe you haven't and you're meeting them for the first time, and actually not really talking about, what now when you use your instruments with the specific. It's not about all that. It's about hanging out and getting to know people on a personal level and being comfortable with them and going and having a drink and being stupid and staying up too late
and drinking too much.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is a problem.
But we're all musicians and composers, so it's inevitable.
And it's good to it's also another thing because like composers never really get out of their studio. That's one of the things I've actually said to game developers. Like,
permits.
Yeah, game developers always kind of pack in together, and they've always got their own little groups. Composers, we start the project like you are in the same place when you're a professional as you are when you start, and that doesn't happen. Like game developers, they start in their bedroom, and like they sometimes end up at a big studio with all these people and all this money. When you start composing, you start in your bedroom, and sometimes you're a professional and you're still in your bedroom, And that's why things like this are kind of important because, it can get very isolationist, and sometimes you just want to hear how other people are doing it, and sometimes you just want to vent. You just want to vent all these things, all these conversations about music that you've had pent up for ages. And you just want to blast them out. I feel like I'm talking too much.
You're talking too much? No way.
Who knows? Who'd have guessed?
No, but that's all true. Being able to hang out with other like-minded folks, and whether they're audio directors or composers or music directors or just game developers in general, but especially with the music guys. I mean, I have the most fun hanging out with my friends, who, of course, are my competition. But no one. But
it never feels
way.
like that.
No one looks at it that way at all.
No, exactly.
It's just not the way it works. But I would rather hang out with my friends than go schmooze or whatever. But a lot of times that stuff comes naturally once you've got a title or two under your belt and people hang out, and who knows, maybe obviously you already know Andrew. I saw Andrew this morning. So you saw Andrew last night, and it just the more you come and the circle gets smaller, and
exactly, and then
it's inevitable,
and you inevitably you end up as part of the composing community is so small.
It is
that's one of the things I said this in my last video. There's maybe 20 guys at the top tier, like your Hans Zimmers, your John Williams, and then there's a small group which it's just professionals, people who work. I guess we could, I could consider myself in that now.
Sure.
And then there's another group below that, but that middle group is so tiny. And when you come to these things, like I say, I bump into you. We met at the Game Music Connect in London, and now we're here. That's how small it is. I mean, I went into the expo, and at the door was Andrew Aversa. And he's just standing there, and I'm like, oh, hey, and I know him. I've never met him before, but we know each other. Which is a weird thing because it's so small, and that's the cool thing. So I'm a big in the box guy. I do all my composing, with samples, but you're a big recording guy. You use a lot of mics. So do you find what do you find the benefit of recording, all these new instruments? Like we were talking about earlier, off camera, about Far Cry Primal, rubbing rocks together, hitting bones. I mean, what do you find the benefit of that? That sounded weird, didn't it? But the benefit of recording live over doing samples, because it is a personal taste thing.
It is.
When it comes down to it, there is no better way, I'd say. But what for you personally, what's the benefit? Would you say?
Probably mostly just trying to be as unique and original as possible. To try to separate myself from folks that may be using all the same sorts of libraries. Now, it also should be said that I'm a drummer, so I'm going to naturally gravitate towards having different things to hit on, basically. Just bang things as hard as I can.
Sorry, I'm just going to clip that out. Hit on things and bang them as hard as I can.
Yeah.
I love it. That is the life of a drummer.
I mean, pretty much. If you're a hammer, everything's a nail. I mean, if you're a drummer, everything's a drum.
That is awesome. One of the things I like about your scores is that they're always very the game scores. Have you ever done film?
Yeah, I've done a couple of films.
Yeah. Oh, that's the thing. How do you find the difference between the two? Because that was a question that came up on Twitter. What's the big difference between games and films for you?
The amount of music that needs to be done. I mean, you're looking at 4 or 5 hours for a big game, and a film, 2-hour film is going to need maybe 100 minutes of music at the most. Yeah, big difference.
And I guess one of the differences I always found is that with games, sometimes you have to rely on imagination for a change. When you get a film, it's all about the film tells you what it wants.
Yep. When
you get a game, you get a script, and you're like, I have no idea. I mean, I was talking to Andrew last night about this. It's sometimes you just need, most composers I find are reactive. So we naturally react. We see something and we feel it in music. Like, so we need something to go off of. And I always find that things like concept art, for example, you know, even the color of the concept art will give you a different physical response, you know. So you look at something and you feel it in music. Do you find that's like the same for you? Like, if you see something, you end up knowing what they want as the tone?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It makes a huge difference. And you have to, especially with games, because a lot of times you literally have these little stick figures that like move around, and then they'll have the robot voice do like, "I love you so much, please don't go away," and it's like worse than if
Or the in-house guys, you know, like
he's like, "I love you so much, please go," and it's a terrible recording, and you just have to pretend that it's going to be amazing.
Or you get like the T-shaped like animatics where they slide into shot and they do their line and then they like slide out again, which is it's bizarre. And it's sometimes when you get a film and it doesn't have the music, it's the most unintentionally or hilarious thing. Like someone's like, nah, and you're like, it's like if you've seen have you seen the Mummy trailer, the one where they accidentally released it without the music?
No.
Okay, so they released the trailer of the Mummy, and the sound mixer just somebody just forgot, like part of it's in silence, and they kind of left in Foley and Tom Cruise. That's kind of what they left in. And there's a bit where the helicopter's going down and Tom Cruise is just going, they do like the same scream twice. Oh, it's so cheesy. You need to see
a stem got muted somehow. I can't believe that got
I can't believe that.
Yeah.
How do you render out? I mean, like even as us, like you play it back to yourself at least once.
Yeah, of course.
Like, how did it go through all those stages? It went through mix to being placed in the video to being rendered to being uploaded without someone going, guys, I think this is wrong. It's really weird though, because and like that's something interesting about music in general, like, which is a complete tangent, but like how people can associate their own. I think there's a term of it in filmmaking, but where the audience associates their own meaning to something. You know, so like you can have a picture of someone with a blank face and cut to like a lady and he's a pervert, or you know, like a face he's looking at cake, he's hungry. You know, you associate with it. And it's funny, when I watched the Mummy trailer, the intro starts with silence, and I was associating all these doom and gloom kind of feelings to it because it had nothing there.
Right.
So for a while it kind of worked, and then Tom Cruise starts screaming, and you're like, oh, it's a mistake, you know? Do you ever find that? Do you ever look at a scene and think like, I'm just going to do like nothing here, like maybe something, like a little thing, and let the audience do their...
Oh yeah, especially with film, because it's so much more, well, obviously linear.
Right.
With games, same thing, yeah, but a lot of times, since you don't know how long that moment's going to last,
right,
it just a lot depends on how comfortable the developer feels like letting it sit.
Right.
So like, well, what if they walk away? And you know, that's a whole other aspect of games, you know, with interactive music and non-looping and.
Well, that's the big thing that actually came up, and I know that you use Wise, right? Mm-hmm. Wise. That was a question like as a composer, how do you use Wise like in your workflow? Because you were saying that you use it like on some projects you use it on your end. Like right. I've never actually had to implement myself. Like I've always, you know, just sent stems and it's been implemented on the other side. So like as a composer, do you find it like helps to use Wise?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Only because there's so many other tools in Wise that can be done on the music side of things, like in your DAW. But if you put them in Wise, they're interactive.
Right.
So if I'm going to have like, you know, distortion on a drum kit, let's say. There's a drum loop that's playing. Oh, of course it's not a loop. I'm playing drums.
Right. So you got it live.
And I want it to distort maybe for whatever reason, you know, reacting to something in the gameplay. Well, in Wise, I can have it run that way, and it's running in real time, and it's like McDSP, like really cool, or Isotope, I mean, like really great distortion.
Yeah.
And it's running in real time, reacting to the game, and I didn't have to print the distortion to the drums.
Oh, perfect.
So that immediately alleviates one of my, like, how do I make this cool and interactive, and that's the next step beyond writing it for the DAW.
Yeah, Wise. So do you think things like Wise in the future are going to be, so interactivity like on the composing side, do you think that's going to be something that is going to be like a change in the industry? Because right now we compose how we compose, you know, we write music, we deliver it, and then they do with it as they will. Do you think that process is going to turn more to us in the future, like we'll be the interactive directors of the music per se?
If I have anything to say about it, it will. Yeah.
Right.
Because I love being able to have that, and it's not me being a control freak. It's more about letting the music like be as optimally placed and reactive as possible in the game. So I'm all for it.
I mean, one of the things that excites me particularly is like with the processing power increasing on the consoles, on the games you're playing. I'm hoping that it gets to a point where we can set almost rules for the music. So, like you mentioned with the drums, imagine being able to have different kind of effects chains that you can apply to the music. So the music, so you don't have to do, a drum and a drum with distortion. You can have the distortion mix itself in if things are getting intense. You can have delays start coming in when things are getting crazy. I mean, does anything like that excite you? Can you think of anything that like?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing.
So you're already there. You're in the future.
I'm living in the future.
You are there.
So I've got 10 different tracks that stream back.
Yep.
And this is for 3 different levels of like low, medium, and high intensity. So those will switch.
So 10 tracks. So like
there's 10 tracks for low.
Like 3. Oh, there's 10 for low.
Then 10 for medium. And 10 for high.
So 30 tracks altogether running.
Well, they switch out.
Oh, okay.
We can't have all of them running at the same time.
Okay, so you're not stacking. You're more like, so these 10 layers are going, and then we'll go down
displace it. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So I've got 10 tracks running.
Yep.
Some of them are mono, some of them are stereo, because there's a voice constriction. But within those 10 tracks, I have delay.
Yep.
2 different reverbs. One's like a cool digital reverb. One's a convolution reverb. Distortion, low pass and high pass filter with variable cues, a volume. And one more thing, and all of those can be run in real time and completely modulated via independent 10 tracks.
And so does that translate? That's insane.
It is.
But does that translate to the project, or do you still end up exporting that and they have that on their end?
Oh no, so I plug that into Wise and literally hit the button and it uploads to the game.
Oh,
and it's playing that in real time.
So the processing's so strong it can do that in real time while still playing the game on top. That's incredible.
It's amazing.
I mean, it's come a long way from days where you could have 2 audio tracks. I mean, I think it was even it might have been PlayStation 3. Like I was doing a project and it's like we can only do like this many layers because the process, like we've only allocated like 2 maximum voices. 2 maximum stereo voices, and that's it. That's all you get. So the best we can do is A/B, A/B.
Yeah.
So we're playing the stealth track, which means that we know that the next thing is either going to be action or like caution. So you load those 2 into RAM, and then it changes to one or the other. Like there's no layering. But then again, I also did another game once where it got ridiculous. Like it was one track that was 2 minutes, but it was like 20 layers deep or something, and that was one track, and I had to be able to take away any of those layers. I mean, do you think sometimes like the requirements of layered music is too restrictive for the composer? Because I mean, we're allowed to go in between, but you have to be very careful about how you write that layered piece. So do you not think sometimes we make it too complex for ourselves?
You meaning well, I usually do, no matter what, because inevitably my goal is to only have maybe a third of those stems playing at any one point in time. Yeah. If you listen to them all, it's sort of cacophony in a way, which of course makes it impossible to do a soundtrack release because you're just like
where do you
every 2-minute cue is like 8 minutes of material because you don't want to have it all playing at the same time.
So that's a good talk because there's going to be a few interviews, but like thank you so much for at least talking on camera because not everybody will do it.
Why won't people talk on camera?
Because people are shy.
Oh, I'm not shy.
He's not shy. You should do vlogs in the future. Everybody bug him to do videos in the future, and maybe one day he'll get to it.
I'm considering it because I love talking about this stuff, and I feel like so much of it seems like dark magic.
It
where
is, and
it's just
we're magicians.
People haven't experienced it. Oh, it is dark magic. Yeah, we're
magicians.
We're the only ones capable of
But
doing
every now and again, someone will give you a little peek behind. They'll give you a look in the hat, and that's kind of what I do. And I think there's definitely room for more people, particularly people like yourself who have done things that I couldn't have dreamt of doing.
You can rub rocks together just like anybody else.
Anybody can rub rocks, but not everybody would think to rub rocks. That's the difference. So I'm always up for learning, but yeah, you should definitely get into that. So is there any social media or anything you want to plug for people to follow you on Twitter?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, JG Music's my Twitter tag.
Okay, so
Jason Graves Music for Facebook.
Okay.
And I'm still trying to figure out what to do about a blog or video blog or where to put it. Or
go with YouTube. Go with
all
YouTube.
that
That's where the
stuff.
people are. So JG Music on YouTube, soon to be. Someone's just like been like, right, that's mine now.
Yeah, someone already at $5,000.
You want that? Anyway, thanks a lot.